This week on Alan's Antics, with all the talk of striking junior doctors and healthcare privatisation, well, it's here. It's happening. Is there no limit to what this government will privatise? UK plasma. The government was accused of gambling with the UK's blood supply by selling the state-owned NHS plasma supplier to a US private equity firm. Everything is up for sale in this country. It just depends who you know and how big your wallet is. Now, there's 2 points I want to make from the next story. One is the fact that the story itself is ridiculous. The subject matter is ridiculous. But also, let's see if you can spot the subtle clickbait. This is from themirror.co.uk. Parents could be forced to pay for children to take packed lunches to school. Clickbait. It's to make you read the headline. Why bother reading the rest of the article? Because suppose you kind of know what it's going to say. It's just the government gone mad. It's crazy. It's utter nuts. But if you do read the article and you get to the very bottom of the article, it's not going to cost parents anything at all. And this probably will never happen. So why write the story in the first place? Clickbait. British arms sales to Bahrain total £45 million since the Arab Spring, while claims of torture and oppression continue. We take our arms export responsibilities very seriously and operate one of the most robust arms export control regimes in the world. Risks around human rights abuses are a key part of our assessment for granting export licenses, and we do not export equipment where we assess there is a clear risk that it might be used for internal repression. Well, in my opinion, then all I can say is that she's never visited Saudi Arabia and Bahrain, as I have, and seen that repression using British equipment. For myself, the elderly should do community work or lose their pension, a peer says. These people have worked harder than most will ever in their lives of this new generation, who genuinely are sometimes benefit scroungers and who generally do just sit on their backsides at home and wait for the gyro to land on the doorstep or be added to their bank account so they can piss it up the wall. But not like these guys, not like these people, not like these over 60s who've been through wars and have actually contributed and worked hard for what they're getting now. The pitiful amount that it is. Why do so many lefties and lovies loathe this country? There's a long and inglorious history of British intellectuals, notably on the left, disparaging their own country. George Orwell described the phenomenon in 1941 when Britain was fighting for its survival. Quote, England is perhaps the only country whose intellectuals are ashamed of their own nationality. In left-wing circles, it's always felt that there is something slightly disgraceful in being an Englishman, and that it is a duty to snigger at every British institution. End quote. Nothing has changed. At a press conference in Berlin on Tuesday, the actress and self-declared socialist Emma Thompson witheringly referred to her country as, quote, a tiny little cloud-blotted rainy corner of sort of Europe. I mean, really, a cake-filled, misery-laden, grey old island.
It's about being brave, about saying things that are not popular. And so I would say, and Daniel actually addressed this earlier this morning, so I might hand it over to him as well, because he's living in Germany at the moment, and I'm living in Europe, of course, as it were. Well, a tiny little cloud-bolted, rainy corner of sort of Europe. I mean, really, not sort of, cake-filled, misery-laden, grey old island. But anyway, the sense of people turning their backs on people who need help, I think is, not being able to say the truth, not being able to say what you really feel, I think is very current at the moment. Yes.
Emma Thompson labels Britain a misery-laden, grey old island. Note the imputation of smallness. There is a simple solution for her, which would have the added advantage of relieving us of her misunderstandings. sell her agreeable £3.5 million house in Leafy Hampstead, and go and live in Dusseldorf. I've entitled this article, Just Let 'Em All In. You can read the entire thing on RadioFreeUK.org/blogs/Alan, or you can just sit back and listen to what I have to say. When one stands up against racism or fascism, one stands with people of all races, creeds and colours together to ensure that all have peace and all needs are met. That's not then to be used to destroy the indigenous culture and the moral foundations of the existing society. I simply cannot stand by and watch as the rights and foundations of the country of my birth and the country I gave 20 years of my life to are taken from me by some liberal who's forgotten the history of England and the sacrifices that were given to allow them to march and hold their views without fear of repression. Let them go to Saudi Arabia and attempt these acts of societal destruction. Then they'll feel the real meaning of repression and hatred. Hold your opinion. Go on your march, but be aware that flying the flag of anti-racism will not give you the right to destroy the culture I gave myself to protect. And if you want to see the pictures of me giving my youth to my country, then head along to RadioFreeUK.org/blogs/Alan and check out what I did for my country, and the things that I did are still haunting me to this very day. Well, that was just a little snapshot of the week on Alan's Antics on RadioFreeUK.org. To hear the full recordings and a whole lot more, go to RadioFreeUK.org. And there'll be more next week. Take care and have a safe one.